Alright, so in the first problem, I want to find the measure of angle 1. Okay, what do I need to find first in order to find the measure of angle 1?
What x equals.
I need to find out what x equals. So, what theorem can I use to solve for x? I'll give you a hint. What is this called? It's called an exterior angle. And it's called the exterior angle sum theorem. What do we do in the exterior angle sum theorem?
We add up the two angles on the outside, the 3x plus 4.
On the outside?
Like
on the inside? Yeah. Non-adjacent, my two non-adjacent interior angles. I add them, and then what do I do with them? Set them equal to what? The exterior. So I'm going to add them. 40. Can't really read that. Let's try yellow. 40 plus 3x equals 5x minus 10. So what's my smaller x? 3x. How do I move it? Subtract my 3x. So I have 40 equals 2x minus 10. What do I do next? Add 10. So 50 equals 2x. Next. Divide by 2. What's 50 divided by 2? 25. Do I circle this answer? No. I need to plug it in. You can actually do two things. Some people are more comfortable with the triangle relationship. We already have 40 degrees. How many degrees would this one be? 3x?
75.
75, because 3 times 25 is 75. So if we have 75 and 40, how do I find the third angle?
You add 75 and 40, then you subtract that from 180.
Add them and subtract from 180. So we would add 40 and 75, which makes 115. So then how would we find what's missing from our 180? I would subtract. I already have 115 degrees inside of my triangle. I subtract it, so I got 180 minus 115, which is how many degrees? 65. I think some of you did something else to find the measure.
That's what I think I did that.
You did this one?
Well, I got 65, but I erased it.
What, did anybody do anything else to find the measure of angle 1? Plugged it into the exterior. What relationship does the exterior have with the interior? Nope. They're a linear pair, which makes them supplementary, add up to 180. So if that's the case, we could plug in 25. What's 5 times 25? 5 times 25. If you have 5 quarters, thank you, 125. Subtract 10, which is 115. So if this angle on the outside is 115, how would we find the angle that's on the inside? Subtract from 180. So you would do 180 minus 115, which is still 65. How many of you did it the triangle way? How many of you did it the exterior angle way? How many of you just found x? Okay, make sure you gotta plug it back in. Okay, triangle way. Either way, you get the same answer. Number 4, we're trying to find the measure of each acute angle. What do you know about the angles inside of a triangle? They add up to 180, so let's start. Let's see, we got 2x, which is my first angle. I don't know if you can see this. Nope. I think we're just going to have to deal with yellow. So 2x, keep adding, x minus 6. Did I add all 3 angles?
No.
No, what's my third angle? 90. And it will equal 180. So now I need to combine my like terms. 2x and x make 3x, yep.
Plus 84.
And then minus 6 plus 90 is 84. Just pausing to make sure everyone's following along. What do I do from here? Subtract 84. I get 3x equals 96. Divide by 3 and x equals 32. Did I find what I'm looking for? No, I just found x. All right, I need to plug it back in. So I'll have 2 times, what is it, 32? What's 2 times 32? 64, it's one of my answers. And then plug it in, 32 minus 6, which is 20, what? 6. And then do I need to find this other angle back here?
No.
How many degrees is that angle? 90. How many degrees should all my angles add up to? 180. And these 2 angles should add up to what number? 90. How many degrees fit inside of a triangle? 180. How much is taken up by my right angle? 90. What's 180 minus 90? 90. So what should these 2 always add up to? 90. Because 90 plus 90 is 180. Okay? It's like an extra way to check it. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, so we're going to go to our notes. Identify and use corresponding parts. Use the third angle theorem. So look up here. What does congruent mean?
Same measure.
Same measure. So in order for 2 polygons, and what is a polygon?
Different kind of shape.
A shape. Doesn't a 4-sided, 5-sided, 6-sided? A shape, literally. Is a circle a polygon? No. Polygons are made up of line segments. Circles are not. Okay, circles like a different breed. So in order for a polygon to be congruent, it has to be literally the same shape twice. Does that make sense? Everything about it has to be congruent. All of the angles have to be congruent. All of the sides have to be congruent. It literally needs to be the same shape twice. Okay? If you get that, you'll get this lesson. Capiche? All right, here we go. We have these 2 shapes. You see them on the bottom of or in the middle of your paper. Go ahead and fill in the blank that you see. When 2 figures are congruent, there is a correspondence between their angles and sides such that corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are congruent. Sorry, the blanks aren't very big. It is what it is. So when 2 figures are congruent, there is a correspondence between their angles and sides such that corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are congruent. Isn't it? I will show you. So I have generally outlined the left angle, okay, pretty decently. I'm going to take it on my iPad. I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm going to move it over here. Maybe I can do it without, no, I'm going to move it anyways. I can't do it without doing it. So what you would do is these shapes are literally like moved over and then flipped, like rotated. So that's why every angle corresponds with an angle on the other shape, and they'll be congruent because it's the same shape, just this one's flipped, if you can see. Flipped kind of like this. So every angle corresponds with an angle. Every side corresponds with a side. So here's what you do. You match up the tick marks and the congruent marks. So what angle is congruent to angle A?
D.
D. Not only because they're color-coded, but because how many congruent marks do they both have? 1. All right, so what would angle B be congruent with?
E.
E, because they both have, again, 3. And then what about C? F. All right, so because of the amount of congruent marks, what about side CB? What would C be? It's close. If I said CB, I would need to name it in the same order. So it would be FE. So here's what happens. When you're naming sides, it's a little different because you're naming 2 letters. Whatever order you name the first, you need to also name the second. So I named C first and B second. C corresponds with F, so I'd have to name F first. B corresponds with E, and I have to name E second. Okay, so that's the only one that there's like a stipulation with how you name them. All right, so we're going to start with the corresponding angles. You have a blank for them, I believe, a box. To name the corresponding angles, we've already done it, but go ahead and write it down. Angle A is congruent to angle D. Angle B is congruent to angle E. Angle C is congruent to angle F.
That's what I'm supposed to write?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know they're color-coded on our screen, but obviously your quizzes and tests are in what colors?
Black and
Black and white. Okay, so the colors won't help you in the long run. All right, then we're going to work together to name all of the corresponding sides, which is the next box that you have.
Do I need to write what's under the letters?
No, buddy, it's okay. You can write whatever you want, I promise.
You can do it.
Here we go. Name a side on our first triangle. Just pick one.
BA.
Sure, BA. We're going to, in our box for corresponding sides, this is where we're starting. BA, you want to follow along, corresponding sides in that box. What is BA congruent to?
ED.
Let's see, BA, you said what?
ED.
ED. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
I agree. BA goes from 3 curve marks to 1. ED goes from 3 curve marks to 1. All right, so BA, ED, what other side can we name from our first triangle?
A.
C.
Sure, we'll say CA, someone said. CA. If C came first, what side or what angle corresponds with C? F. So F would have to come first. And then A came second, so D has to go second. And then our last side would be CB. And it would be congruent to FE. FE. All right. It'll pop up all the other type of answers that you could have done. All right, and then the last thing is called a similarity statement. It's the bottom box. This is what we do. You would say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Go ahead and write this one down. In the similarity statement box, we're going to do a couple of them together. The triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So does it look like the order I list my letters in matters?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Look how A comes first, and A corresponds with D, so D comes first. B is second, B corresponds with E, so E comes second. Same thing with C and F. So we're going to do one. BCA. So before you just yell it out loud, let's all write this one down. What do we think this symbol means right here? Oops. This symbol. Triangle. So whenever you name a triangle, you write triangle. All right, so we have BCA. So our second that we're going to name, we'll name triangle. What angle corresponds with B? E. So we're going to name E first. What corresponds with C? F. And then what corresponds with A?
D.
D as in dog. EFD. Look how beautiful that looks. There you go. Looks better. All right, go ahead and flip to the next page. Just like that, we've almost learned it all. Where it says theorem 5.4, you're going to put the third angle theorem. Something like that. Third angle theorem. Third angle theorem. And you want to take out a highlighter. Third angle theorem, take out a highlighter. So flip. Third angle theorem. All right, so third angle theorem. You're going to fill in the blank on your notes. If two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the third angles are also congruent. Let's go ahead and fill in the blank. two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the third angles are also congruent. And then I'm going to prove it to you. I will. So give me an easy number. Nobody knows what an easy number is anymore.
2.
Okay, well, like,
44.
sure, 5. If this one's 5. What? Give me another. No, I'm not talking like a single digit number, but I'm talking like, sure, 55. I'll take 50.
25.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll take 55. Sorry, I don't have room inside. All right, so if angle B is 55, what other angle is 55? E. Because why? Because they're marked congruent with that mark. What other angle is 5 degrees? D. So let's think about this. How many degrees fit inside of a triangle? 180. In our first triangle, how many degrees are already taken up? How many degrees? 60. What's 180 minus 60?
120.
120. I know this is not to scale, but just write with me here. Did anything change in my second triangle? No. If it's already 55 and 55 and 5, what's 55 plus 5? Still 60. What's 180 minus 60? Still 120. Still 120. So I didn't do anything to make these two congruent. But because they have the same two other angles, the third one has to be congruent. Because they all have to add up to 180. All right, does that make sense?
See,
Yes, maybe
I
so.
understand.
Okay. All right, let's do our first example. This is where your highlighter will come in.
Andy.
Good job. We got one right.
Here we go. Go ahead and highlight. Well, first, let's talk about it first. Sorry. So it says find the measure at BDC. So this is what you're going to highlight. BDC is here, yes?
Yeah.
What you're going to do is highlight that angle as well as the triangle it is a part of. Where's your highlighter? So look at BDC. What would I have to connect to finish the triangle? B and C. So go ahead and highlight that triangle. All right, so here's what's happening. I need to find BDC, which is this entire angle. This entire angle. Do I already know this entire angle? No. I only know like this tiny, tiny piece, which is 30 degrees. That's not the whole angle. So here's what I can do. I can transfer all of the angles I already know and put them on my new triangle. So what other angle is 45 degrees? B, yeah. So go ahead and write 45. And then what other angle is 30?
C.
Yeah, part of C. So now think about this. And watch what I want you to visualize in your head. Okay? We're only talking about the yellow triangle. We agree? So 30 degrees, this 30 right here. Sorry, I was going to highlight it. This 30, is it an angle in our triangle? Like, is this representing angle D? No. So it's not going to help us at the moment. All it did was help us find angle C. So I want you to visualize, like, forgetting about it. And all you want to see is 30, 45, and the fact that we're missing this angle. If you see that, how do we find a missing angle in a triangle?
Add up the two sides.
Add up the two angles and then subtract from 180. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to add up our two angles. My two angles are 30 and 45, which is 75. So how do I find out how many degrees are left from 180? Subtract it. So that would be our final answer.
All right, Carl.
You don't have to yell at the answer. All right, so when you're doing a problem like this, write all of the angles that are congruent, like outline which triangle or which angle you're looking at, okay? And it will help you find the missing angle. Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, next example. Using properties of congruent figures is the second to last problem we have. In the diagram, DEFG is congruent to SPQR. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to mark angles congruent. What is D going to be congruent with? S. So go ahead and mark it on your paper. D and S. We mark it with one congruent mark. What is E going to be congruent with? P. So mark it with 2. E and P. All right, let's keep going. What is F going to be congruent with? Q. So mark it with 3.
You said F is Q.
Yeah, yep. Here we go. All right, last one would be G and R. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what we do is we're going to decide what's congruent to what so we can set things equal so we can solve. All right, so what does it ask us to find first? X. Where is X in this problem?
On the right side.
Yeah, QR on the right side. So we see 2x minus 4 and 6y plus x. Which one do you think will be easier to solve for first? 2x minus r. So let's think about this. What is QR going to be congruent with? FG. But yeah, they're going to be congruent to each other. Here's a trick, and I want you to look at this thing up here. Is everyone looking? So QR, which is right here, it's the last two letters, yes? What are the last two letters of my first statement? FG. Okay, so that you can just literally look at this. You don't even have to look at the dumb picture. You can look at the statement and it tells you everything you need to know. So FG and QR are congruent, so you can set them equal. And then we solve. What do we do next to solve our problem?
Add 4.
Add 4. Yep. 16 equals 2x. Divide by 2, and what does x equal?
8.
That's one of our answers.
No.
What did you say? That's one of our answers. It said find the value of x. Are you crazy? I wasn't asking. That is like the answer. It says find the value of x. There it is. Now we need to find the value of y. All right, so let's find where y is. It's at angle Q. Do we all agree? It's at angle Q. What angle corresponds with angle Q?
F.
F. So that means they're congruent. So guess what we do? Set them equal. So I got 6y plus x equals 68. So what's the issue here?
There's two.
There's two variables, two letters. Do we know the value of one of them?
Yes.
So what can we do? Plug it in. So 6y plus 8 equals 68. All right, what do we do next?
Subtract 8.
Subtract 8. 6y equals,
60.
and then y equals 10. Good. Did we answer the whole problem?
Yes.
Yes, we did. On what? From our x. So because x equals 8 here, it also can equal it here. Flip if you're finished with this problem. Yes, sir.
I said no, because I thought you had to plug it in.
Nope. You could plug it into check because QR should equal 12 feet. So if you plugged 8 in, it should equal 12 feet. So technically, you could check it. All right, so flip to the next page. Hustle. Click. I didn't hiccup. I just said flip in a really high-pitched voice. It is what it is. All right, so I want you to take out your highlighter and highlight this first part. Because on your homework, it's going to say it, and a lot of people are not going to do it correctly because they don't know what this phrase means. And I'm going to tell you what it means. It means list all congruent angles and sides. There's 4 angles and 4 sides. You'll be okay. So when you see that on your homework, please do that. All right, so we don't even need to look at the picture. We can just look at this phrase up here. All right, let's start with our angles. What will angle A be congruent with?
C.
Angle C, I agree. They're both the first letter. What will B be congruent with?
D.
D. Angle B is congruent to angle D. What will G be congruent with? E. So angle G, angle E. And then last, what will H be congruent with? F. All right, so those are all the congruent angles, because how many angles are there in each picture? 4. So we listed 4 congruent statements. Now we do the same thing with sides. So again, I don't even need to look at the picture. I could just look at that phrase. What is AB going to be congruent with?
CD.
CD. So please pause and look at the screen. You name a side. Everyone look up here. I just finished grading your test. Some of you still don't know how to name a side. It's in 1.1. 2 letters, a line above. I don't write the word line. I don't put 3 letters. Just put 2 letters and a line above. Capiche? So AB we said was congruent to what side? CD. All right, what's BG congruent with? DE. BG. DE. All right, what do we think is next? Yeah, GH and what? EF. GH. Again, does it matter what order I write these letters? Yes. If I write GH, I need to write EF. If I wrote HG, what would I write? If I wrote H first and G second, what would I write for the second part? FE. Okay, if I flip the first one, I need to flip the second one. All right, and then the last one is the hardest for most students to see. What is the only side we haven't named?
HA.
HA, which means FC. HA first is congruent to FC. All right, so because of this, we find the measure of find the measure of the value of X. Where is X right now? Angle H. What angle is congruent to angle H?
E.
H.
F.
D.
B. F. H is the last letter, F is the last letter. You just wrote down that H was congruent to F. All right, so here we go. We set them equal because they're congruent. 4x plus 5 will equal 105. What do we do next? Subtract 5. 4x equals 100. Divide by 4, and what does x equal? 25. What a popular number today.